In Canada, whistleblowing isn't a walk in the park, even with legal pillars like the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The most well-intentioned people can inadvertently support illegal conduct by remaining silent or complying with unethical directives to avoid conflict or consequence. Our goal is to give the general public and those who are thinking about whistleblowing information and guidance. When someone stumbles across something they think isn't right, we want them to know their options. Whistleblowing is often the first step toward public and legal accountability. It's important to note that Canada's whistleblower laws in both the public and private sector need improvement. However, in the public sector, specific laws like the Public Servants Disclosure Protection Act do offer some protections and guidance for whistleblowers. Studies show that these laws have challenges in implementation and effectiveness, but the intent remains to encourage transparency and accountability in the public sector organizations. In contrast, protections in the private sector are more limited and often more complex. In another video, we explore the challenges and options for whistleblowers in the private sector. In every circumstance, when whistleblowing, it's crucial that you seek guidance from a legal professional or a trusted advisor. Navigating this process is difficult, and having help along the way is essential. Whistleblowing is when someone, usually within an organization, speaks up about wrongdoing. But what happens when a whistleblower gets in trouble for doing the right thing? In Canada, our Constitution guarantees certain rights through the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. While there isn't a section about whistleblowing specifically, a few parts of the Charter protect whistleblowers, especially if the government or an employer tries to punish a whistleblower for speaking up. First, there's Section 2B, Freedom of Expression. This gives you the right to share your thoughts, beliefs, and opinions, and helps protect your right to speak out about perceived wrongdoings. This protection isn't unlimited, though. For example, you can't share confidential information for no reason. Some people worry that speaking up about wrongdoing might conflict with their duty of loyalty to their employer. However, Canadian law has been clear for over a century. When it comes to exposing illegal or harmful conduct, the responsibility to report it outweighs any loyalty to your employer. Next is Section 7, Life, Liberty, and Security of the Person. If your employer retaliates after you blow the whistle, like firing you, threatening you, or putting your safety at risk, this section makes sure you can't be deprived of your liberty or security without any good reason. Then there's Section 15, which ensures everyone is treated equally under the law. If you're being discriminated against or treated unfairly because you blow the whistle, this section can protect you. Finally, Section 24. This section allows you to go to the court and ask for a remedy if your charter rights are violated. Remember, the rule of law ensures that no one is above the law, including those who try to silence the truth. Next, let's take a look at the specific public sector laws. In another video, we'll look at private sector laws. The PSDPA is a federal law that provides a procedure for federal public servants to report serious problems like fraud, misuse of public money, and breaches of laws and other kinds of wrongdoing in their workplace. Now, there are pros and cons to the PSDPA. Pro, the law itself explains that, quote, the federal public administration is an important national institution and is part of the essential framework of our Canadian parliamentary democracy, end quote. Con, well, studies say that the PSDPA is deficient. On November 29th, 2022, our federal government announced the appointment of a task force to explore revisions to the PSDPA. Now, the task force will consider, quote, how to strengthen protections and supports for public servants who come forward to disclose wrongdoing, end quote. So it's still always best to seek the advice of a legal professional when turning to the Public Servants Disclosure and Protection Act. Under the Public Service of Ontario Act, an Ontario public servant is protected from reprisals for disclosing wrongdoing to a designated officer or the Integrity Commissioner. However, this law has weak protections, judging from an assessment in 2022 at least. So seek the advice of a legal professional when attempting to implement or interpret any provisions of the Public Service of Ontario Act. In conclusion, whistleblowing in the public sector can be complex. But there are pathways to seek justice. Knowing your options and potential jurisdiction issues can help you make the right choice. Remember, it's essential to seek legal advice if you're unsure about your situation. Whistleblowing is often the first step toward public and legal accountability. It's also the most difficult step, with several hurdles along the way, and for that reason, it shouldn't be taken alone.